our second speaker. Our second speaker today is Jim. Looks very sharp in a suit today. He is speaking from the Entertaining Speaker Manual. The time requested is 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of your speech is The Modern Day Prom. And the objective today for him, and let's see if we can do this, is to make them laugh. So please help me welcome Jim. Again, the title of the speech is The Modern Day Prom.
So, I'm on the last child of our family, and he is a senior in high school. And so we're about to become empty nesters, and so it's creating a very reflective period of life for my family, my wife and I. And we were at this prom event this last weekend. It was my son's prom, so technically it's our last prom as parents. And in this reflective nature, I started viewing this event, and I realized that if you haven't had a child in high school in the last 10 to 15 years, you cannot comprehend what is the modern day prom. I'm about to enlighten you. So first of all, you have to ask the girl, in most cases, to the prom. Now this isn't just kind of walking down the hallway and, hey, do you want to go to the prom? No. These kind of things start with some really intense, creative way in which you ask the person to prom. And so, I'll give you a few examples from my experience. You make hundreds of notes that tell them that they're cool and they're friendly and they're hot and they're smart and all these things, and you go and you put them in signs on the front lawn, or you load up their car with it. You give little gifts, candy and flowers, and this kind of goes on for a couple days, and then you finally pop the question, will you go to prom with me? Another example is you take a note and you freeze it inside of a block of ice. It takes a good week plus to get this accomplished. But when the person breaks open the block of ice, the note says, now that we've broken the ice, will you go to prom with me? So, pretty cool stuff. Of course, the answer has to be given in reciprocal-like creative manner. And so, this is just the invitation part of going to prom. You can imagine. Well, then you get, after you've gotten your date, you got to get a tux, you got to get a dress, you got to buy flowers, all this kind of stuff. That was pretty typical to when I went to prom, too. Most of those steps had to take place. But now you get to the big event. Well, these aren't little 2 and 4 people kind of couples. These guys go out in mass. So you get the prom group is 40 people, roughly. And they all want to do pictures. So they pick their destination this year. Cody's group, my sons, went to Anthem Park. So we show up in Anthem Park. Apparently, this was a very popular destination area, because we are not the only prom group taking pictures at this park. There are no less than 6 groups in the park at the time. Now, let me help you some math. You got 40 kids in the group. Every one of those comes with 1.5 parents. Many of them also have siblings. So you got no less than 100 people per every group. 6 groups, 600 people in this park that's built to accommodate roughly 100 people. And so they're all running around, and you got girls in dresses and boys in tuxes and everywhere. And these are all kids. It's not all Broomfield High School, which is where my son goes. There's Holy Family. There's Legacy. There are way too many people to be one little high school. And so they don't even know each other. You don't know all these other people. You're just running around snapping pictures at anybody who your child happens to be standing next to. That goes on, and then back in the day when I took the family station wagon to take my date to the prom, limousines show up and party vans, and they're all lining the road out there, and you're all kind of like, hey, we're going to jump into that car, and they take off. Well, then they go to dinner and they go to the prom, and most of that is kind of very traditional to what we've all experienced. What really separates the modern day prom from what I experienced is the after prom party. I have no idea what these things are called generally. Broomfield High School calls it the jam. I tried to find out what that acronym was, but I don't know. It's just an after prom party beyond belief. And let me give you an example. These things start planning almost the day after the last prom gets finished. They go all year. There are hundreds of hours of parents' time and hundreds of parents involved. They have fundraisers to pay for this whole thing. And they literally transform the standard high school into some theme. This year's theme was road trip. So you walked in, you have Colorado signs and all these things, and you walk into the building. There are arcades that line it. No less than 25 video arcade games. You know what it costs to get those things put up? They got ping pong tables, they got pool tables, they got inflatable castles, they've got obstacle courses, inflatable obstacle courses. My favorite is the gaming area, which is a tradition because I've done this every year for 4 of my children. Where I get to go and I show up at 11 o'clock and I start dealing blackjack from midnight to 4 a.m. and these kids are nonstop. The time goes by fast. I never get up from the table, and it's really fun talking to all these kids. But this is just one little booth. These things, these activities are all through the school, and they're all earning jam bucks that they can use to go buy TVs, microwave ovens, all kinds of gifts. Nobody leaves without a prize. They've got food things going around the whole time. People are eating pizza, they're drinking, it's just the most extravagant thing you can imagine. And you take this room, you can see the walls, that's what the school would look like. It's every square inch is covered with some theme decoration, and they're all clever, and they're all, this is such an event that half of Broomfield's community tours the high school just prior to the event. So, you kind of are getting some indoctrination to what the modern day prom has become. It's an enjoyable event. I'm glad it just shows how much parents really love their children. But it was, for me, just a very reflective event that I'm not going to have to deal with blackjack all night next year. And that event will continue to probably get more extravagant every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Just have a few minutes for council comments. I want to welcome our guests.
Steve Schreck.
That was Steve.